Come on, Sri. What's good, beautiful people? Happy Sunday. And this is May the 11th, 2025, aka Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all of the expecting mothers, all of the already existing moms, grandmas, aunties, mother figures, anybody who participates in mom-like duties. Happy Mother's Day to you. I hope you have a good day. But let's welcome in James for the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel. The link is in the description, as always, to subscribe. Hi,
Hello,
James.
everybody. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for coming to my bestie's channel. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe because this is hard work, y'all. This ain't easy. None of this is easy. I'm telling you, this is difficult. But nonetheless, we are happy that all of you are here, and make sure you subscribe to the channel.
That is true. Thank you, James. Thank you. You guys, I also have Shayna, Shayna underscore MCD. The link to her channel's in the description of this video. She will likely be joining us at the end of the season to discuss how the season went, and we support other Black creators. But let's get into the episode, which was titled #Jealousy Rises. This was season 2, episode 5 of the Never Ever Met. Y'all, this is a pointless season and that they're just letting air because we know that none of these people are going to make it. I think the only couples that might have a shot at making it for at least a year after the show would be Cinco and Jay. But now I feel a little different with them too, which we'll get into. Mm-hmm. But we start the episode with Ty. He's doing a little better. Him and Brittany been having beef, but he decided to make her breakfast and not the house breakfast. I said, wow. It took this girl going off and hollering at you from a pool floaty for you to get it together. I still feel, James, like Ty is on the show because he probably had an intention to date, but I feel like he's probably the one who reached out to the show to be on it. I don't think he's like here fully for Britt. So I'm like, okay, you made her breakfast, but that's not a good start to a relationship if someone has to hoop and holler and throw a fit for you to hear them. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It drives me crazy.
Right.
But do you have anything to add to that little scene at the beginning of those two?
Not really, because we're gonna dive into it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, Kiki and Tatiana talk also to the side. This is a very quick talk. And Tatiana says that she's being real careful with Clay. And she's being very careful not to, take it to the next step in terms of intimacy and sex and things like that. What's good, Shayna? Welcome in. Happy Mother's Day to you.
Happy Mother's Day, Shayna.
Child, I'm looking at Tatiana like your gut is clearly going off. Your gut is telling you that there's something that is off. You're choosing to ignore it, which is irking my soul. But then I also feel like all these people who know Tatiana's secret, that's not a secret that you don't tell your friend about. Like, I'm that friend. If it's something that's heavy like that, I'm telling. I don't care. I come straight to them. And if it's something like, oh, I heard this person was cheating, I'm not saying nothing. I got to see it and come with a receipt and proof before I go tell them. But I feel like this is something big. Like, he's hiding a baby. Like, tell her.
It's something like, to me, I feel like, why is this the cast of Secrets? Like, seriously, everybody on this show, with the exception of Tatiana and maybe a couple others, have a secret. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
Why?
It's stupid.
It's crazy. It's crazy because everybody has secrets.
And the problem is that it's not even secrets. Like, these are life-changing secrets. These aren't like, oh, I embarrassed because I peed my pants in 7th grade or something. Like, this is like,
you might have cheated on me.
Yeah,
there's a whole other individual and person I may have to co-parent with.
Right, and you felt because we were online with each other that this is not that big of a deal because we weren't officially together.
I can't. Clay is not that cute to be acting like this either.
No, not in the
He
slightest.
ain't no way in hell. Let me stop. I'm gonna be good, y'all. I'm gonna be good. It's Mother's Day. But the group ends up doing an activity later on where they play a game and they ask questions basically about each other, and they see which couple can get the most correct answers about the opposite person. So the only couples that did well in this game was Cinco and Jay. They did not win. However, the questions that they did not get right, they weren't far off in answers, and they weren't things that mattered. For instance, when they got the what's your favorite red meat thing, she put lamb, he put steak. You know, that's not that far off, in my opinion. But they ask a specific question of, is it better to date online or in real life? And for the most part, everybody said in real life was better, except for Chris. Now, Chris annoys me because he doesn't seem too interested in Alexis. He just doesn't. Like, I haven't seen them really interact. You see them separately interacting with other people on the cast. But when it comes to like them being cupcaked up together, just laying out, holding a hand, a hug, like that, those physical touches that you see that differentiate if you're in a relationship with someone or just kicking it with them. Like, I don't see that between Alexis and Chris. So I'm not surprised. But he says that online was better to date than in person, and it's because it's less stressful, he says, and easier because he's not stuck to her. He don't got to answer questions. And I was like, the shit that he was explaining didn't even make sense. What do you feel like if you got to get up, you don't got to answer a question? Then tell her when you get up, all right, babe, I'm gonna go do that. That shouldn't be like, that's just part of being in a relationship.
It is, but to me, honestly, I agree with you. I do. Under normal circumstances, you're absolutely right. But the thing about Alexis is that she makes things difficult.
That is true.
So for me, I understood to some extent why he moved the way he did in this exercise and why he said what he said. However, Chris, you are a grown man.
Right.
If this is not working, then you need to bow out, because there's no way you're still in this experience with her having all of these, tendencies that you do. It's weird. It's weird that if you're trying to be in a relationship with this woman and you're trying to build and grow from here, that you are doing the opposing viewpoints of doing what couples should not do. That is crazy to me. So even though Alexis makes shit difficult, I feel like he needs to be the man and leave the relationship, because you obviously are not into her anymore because she scared you.
Yep.
And you obviously are in some type of trauma bonding situation because of your upbringing. And I wish you would focus more on that and be more honest about that, because that actually may determine whether she's right for you or not based on you.
Yeah, that's true.
So
He
that's
did
why,
kind of check out after that. I believe they all met with the therapist or whatever a couple episodes ago.
Mhm.
And when he had to speak about the childhood trauma that he experienced, I think it might have like been like kind of an epiphany for him internally. But like you said, he's not being man enough to leave. Like, if we look back when Irvin was going through all that stuff with that crazy bitch Alicia, he was talking primarily to Chris because it seemed like we're bonding and using each other as like vessels to get out what they dealt with, because Alexis was difficult and Alicia was difficult. They were equally difficult, just in different ways. I'm sick of him. He annoyed me though, because I feel like if you this unhappy, then leave. Don't try and change somebody, especially if you haven't figured out yourself yet, Chris, to know that if you'll even want them. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of him. Now, they move on to ask another question of the couples. They ask if it's ever okay to keep secrets in a relationship. And I watched this last night pretty late because I woke up late randomly. And I was so annoyed. Even my husband was like, babe, all these people gonna grow long noses like Pinocchio because they all got secrets. This cast all has secrets. Charlie and Jared have secrets. Jared still ain't told Charlie's that he does not want to live with her in a house with all them kids. Claybasia running around eating meat in secret and is lying about having a child. Kiki is lying about the fact that she cheated on Brandon the entire duration of their relationship and just had a recent breakup. Like, everybody's keeping secrets. So it was interesting that a lot of the people stated that it's not okay to keep secrets. But when Clay stated it, this is where Alexis makes a noise, like kind of alluding to the fact, like, oh no, you wanted to say no. And, Chris gets mad at Alexis because he feels like that was messy. He does feel like that was messy. And in that instant, I do agree with Chris because it was messy of her to do that. But then I also feel like, though it was messy, somebody needs to wave the fucking flag to Tati so that she can know there is something he is not telling you. Like, even if you don't expose it, somebody had to point that girl in the direction of her gut because she keeps ignoring her gut. I do feel like Alexis should have done that in a smaller setting or maybe pulled her aside, because if you got comfortable pointing some shit out in front of everybody else, then pull her to the side and save her that embarrassment that she's already dealt with. But to me, Clay is a coward.
Yeah.
He and Tatiana somehow won this activity, which was a joke. But how'd you feel, James?
I feel like anybody who knows that Clay has a secret should have exposed that to Tati, especially something that's life-changing like that. They should have, because one, he's playing, and you could tell he's playing with her. And you could tell he's not that. To me, I feel like this was a situation. You know how I felt about Jared? That Jared has somebody at home and he's playing and saying this is acting for Charlie. I feel like Clay is the same thing. I feel like Clay has a woman at home, and this thing with Tati went too far, and now he has to appear on TV because the way that he is sneaking, it makes me feel like you have somebody already.
Especially the fact that the baby's 2 months. In my experience, all of my friends, whether they having their babies in their 30s or having their babies in their 20s and teens, when that baby is that little, 9 times out of 10, they're not done with the baby's dad. 9 times out of 10, I'm just saying. And I get that because people want to give their family a shot. But Clay's child, he says, is only 2 months. So the math is not mathing. Crazy.
The math ain't mathing, and then his demeanor and his movements aren't matching either. Because I could tell, to me, he's treating Tatiana like she a piece of ass.
Yep, he is.
And that's what I don't like about this whole scenario with them two. And as far as Alexis don't give me a girl's girl, woman's kind of. To me, she's a danger to society with her ways. She reminds me of like a vice principal I used to have in middle school.
Oh my God.
Like her name was Miss McCullum. Because I remember she did come to Mount Eden and did some substitute teaching classes at some point because she had retired by the time you had gotten her. So I don't know if you ever got to experience her, but she was mean like that. And it was kind of like, oh my God, lady, you are impossible. But one thing about her, she always kept a good job, though. She had worked at BART like during the time she was principal, so it was like, oh wow.
Oh damn. She has some good jobs.
Yeah, she has some good jobs.
That is the train in the Bay Area, for those who are unsure. Bay Area Rapid Transportation. Look at me speaking out for BART. Anywho, so the worst couple during the activity was Jared and Charlie. I'm not surprised. But what irritated me with these two was they was talking about, no surprise, we lost. We discussed these things 4 years ago. We don't remember that shit. I said, go straight to hell. I billed my husband now a total of, oh shit, hold on. Total of 17 years, right? And I still remember things that he told me from day one. So while I understand that time goes on and you can't remember every little thing your spouse tells you, if you discussed a lot of these questions and you've been talking for 4.5 years, Jared and Charlie, how can you not remember simple things like her favorite color, her favorite meat, her favorite foods? Like, these are things that, whether in person or not, you should be able to know about someone when you talk to them for so long. So are you just not committing it to memory because you both was committing lies to memory about your children's existence? Like, I don't. Do you have anything to add on them? I have nothing.
No, it's just pathetic. It's really pathetic when y'all have to understand you're on national TV. Your children can one day Google this. And who knows? It may be something when they get on social media attaches itself to them. Hey, was this your parent on TV
Right.
at one point? Like, because technology is getting very advanced, and I can only imagine when your kids become teenagers. Even though Charlie has a teenager, by the way, I just don't understand. I just don't understand this cast. And it's like they all got the most dire of circumstances, like Lexi, Charlie, Clay, Jared, even some of Chris as well. I feel like they all have something with them that is just so extreme that I just cannot imagine that going on TV was the best thing y'all could have done for yourselves.
That's the truth. That's actually the truth. That's the truth. People, but I just question anybody with a baby under 6 months. I question you for walking away to do this stupid ass show. That goes for Clay and Charlie and Jared. Because y'all have little babies that's barely crawling, can't eat solids. And you walked away from that to talk to somebody in person who you know you've been lying to. Like, I can't. So we later on, you guys see Chris have a talk with Brandon, and Brandon, Chris, not Brandon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Chris is worried and feels like he might have a messy woman. And, the reason he feels this way is because of Alexis bringing up and laughing at the question about secrets, alluding that Clay has a secret. But everybody in the house knows that Clay has a secret. So why are we going to come at the one person who says something? The other thing is, who cares if you have a messy woman? If she not messy with you, what is the problem? I'm just saying they are not at the point in the relationship where he should feel comfortable to allege that or to say that. And I would be looking at him crazy because why are you so committed to keeping this doggone secret, sir, for these other people? It's not your business. But I did respect him to a certain extent because just because you know a secret doesn't mean you have to expose it. Even if you're having a beef with the person, it does not mean you have to expose it. So he goes and has this conversation. Alexis comes out and Brandon goes away. And Chris finally talks to Alexis about what he feels to be her messy behavior. And he brings up the game and her reaction to the question and how that was painted as looking away. And she goes, I thought the secret was because he's lying about being vegan. And I kind of call bullshit on that because if we look at the previous episode and the episode prior, she knew something. And we know all of these people are messy and in their gossiping, but they probably good at gossip and keeping it away from Tati because, again, they're all professional secret holders. But Alexis, I thought she was bullshitting about the vegan stuff. But
She
then,
was. Because out of all the things that you could have exposed,
right.
why that? I
Of the
mean, you could have
veganism, which had
said,
already been talked about at the table in front of
no.
everybody in a previous episode.
Yeah, like it just I that's why I said she's full of shit. And the more I look at her, the more I'm like, lady, you is really playing a fool for these cameras. Because none of that
She's
matches.
annoying.
Yeah, none of that matches. And then once again, that's why I said I see why Chris has a distance from her. I see it why. Because she's
Yeah,
dangerous. She really is.
she is. Now, it's too early for them to be commenting like that, but I do think it's important. Like, you don't want to be too messy to points where you have your spouse in situations that they may not want to deal with. But let me get Shayna's comment. I don't trust anyone on this show at all, period. Either. But especially the ones with infants, right? To just walk away from something so precious as an infant to lie to me is baffling, but that's just me. But yeah, I agree with you, James. I definitely think Alexis is dangerous in her behavior. I also think she's dangerous for the younger men that she's dating. I feel like she dates these younger men because she knows that she can manipulate them, get away with more, and have more control depending on how young or how traumatized the man is.
Yep.
I just don't like her or her wig. It's
I don't
shedding.
like her either because I kind of feel like to me that just goes to show your character, ma'am.
Right.
And the fact is that anyone that truly is watching this, they're gonna think twice about dating you because of how you move. Like that is a complete manipulation of life to sit up here and then try to play with young men's heads. Even though men do it to women, we can have that fair argument, fine. But at the end of the day, there is something more deep rooted with how she does it than the average men just playing and women falling for it.
Mm.
I feel like there's a difference here. I feel like this is more premeditated than a man in his, placement of life just saying, "Oh, I'm just going to be with this woman and play her games, get the cookie." Because a lot of the time, some women want it as much as the men do. So that's why I kind of don't really give it too satisfaction because ultimately the woman could just say no. It's not
That's
happening.
true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want women to get to the idea that because I know a lot of people are like, well, men play games too. Why can't Alexis play games? I'm not saying Alexis can't play games, but what I'm saying is it's one thing to play games with men your own age than it is to play with men that are 10 to 15 years younger than you, who have
Absolutely.
also self deep rooted mama and daddy issues. There's a
If
complete
someone is younger than you, you have a cognitive advantage over that person,
absolute.
unless you have a cognitive delay. So what she's doing is not right. Separately from that, even if these men, were her age, to have the mindset of, so what, these men be playing with us, so we got to play with them. It's like that term we used to hear in school, you can't fight fire with fire. And that's why, honestly, that's why half of these bitches be alone sometimes, because acting out in the same way that someone who acted out towards you in a negative way, you're not fixing anything. It's just spreading trauma around. And
Exactly.
so I feel like that's why James views Alexis as dangerous, because she's just spreading her trauma around to people who are already traumatized. And that's not good, because then they go on to date other people and it becomes a problem. She is dangerous and her wig is shedding episode after episode. So we shall see. We shall see. I'm not letting go of that damn wig shedding. It's thinner and thinner every episode. I said, oh my God. But oh yeah. Chris tells Alexis she needs to apologize for what she did. I said, I'll be damned if a nigga tell me what I need to do, and you ain't even barely paying me no attention to find something wrong with everything I say and do. Because even though Chris has valid points, I still stand with James. If you feel so strongly about the things that she's doing, just admit that you're turned off and leave. Break up. The commitment to stay is odd. It doesn't make sense. But she listens to him and she goes and apologizes to Tatiana in a way that's going to make Tati question what Clay got going on. Because she's like, listen, I ain't trying to expose no secrets. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want nobody. I was just thinking I was making a joke. And it's like, what kind of forward, out of place, off putting? The way she apologized, I would have been looking at my husband like, what did you do? What do I need to know? Because it was just so forward. So after she apologizes to them, Alexis then pulls Clay aside and lets him know that she knows he has a secret. And I think she did this thinking that Clay would tell her the secret and get nervous, but he ended up just going back to the kitchen, and because he was in there cooking with Tati, and you could just sense the vibe change with him. So Clay is asking Brittany, because Brittany came in the kitchen, he asking Brittany to get out the kitchen. And everybody stays in the kitchen. Usually when the cast is cooking, there has been little tussles and, arguments, but people usually just be chilling around them in the kitchen. Now, Clay wants Brittany to move out the way, and she gives him an attitude, reminding him, and the camera showed us a receipt of how he was in her way the previous week when she was cooking. And so then this man gets an anxiety attack and has to go outside. And I'm looking and I'm like, are we supposed to feel sorry for this man? This big ass man? Are we supposed to feel sorry for you because you put your tilly whacker into somebody while you were talking to this girl and now you got a 2-month-old? Are we supposed to feel sorry for you? I don't understand it. I don't. Hi, Abyss Day winning. Happy Mother's Day to you. I know you are a mommy and a badass grandmother. So happy Mother's
Yes.
Day to
Happy Mother's
you.
Day.
Not all these people are like.
They are. This is a terrible. It's terrible. Like when you really look at what's going on here, like I'm sorry. Like I'm just oh, like what the hell? Like why are y'all exposing black people like this? Like I
Man,
don't get it. This is the most horrible season. Like I almost preferred last season.
I did too, because some some of it seemed like, okay, this may or may not work. And when
Right.
people couldn't work, they went home or broke up. This season, it's just secrets and lies about big things. Having another child and being a binge drinker and or having alcohol issues, chronic lying, like these are not just small things. These are pretty big things. They need to have a therapist out there more and need to pay her what they want. But everybody goes to have dinner. Clay gives a shady ass speech trying to make it seem like he just appreciates Tati and loves her. And that's how you know something wrong, because they throwing around the love wrong, the love word very soon. And Clay and Tati have not been talking long enough, especially virtually, to be talking about I love you this and I love you that. So I'm looking at that as a red flag. So he steps away after giving a weird speech, and he then goes to get her flowers. I said, oh my God. And it was one of the guys who commented, who was like, he's basically love bombing her, which he is. He is. He's making her think she's loved. He's giving her every little thing that she wants and is not saying anything. And the group as a whole is disgusted with his behavior, because it would have been better for him to just admit to having a child, show pictures. They could have been spending this experience like talking stuff out. She could have been connecting dots like, where did you meet this woman? When did y'all break up? How did she get pregnant? Like they could have been figuring it out to at least have some type of a chance. But instead, he continues to tell her he's not lying, be nice to her, gift her, be sweet. I feel like he just wants to hit it. That's how I feel. I feel like he just wants to hit it and we'll tell her later. But before we move forward to the Never Have I Ever game, James, how did you feel about Clay's little dinner speech and his little panic attack, whatever the hell that was?
I don't know what that was either. Like, I'm trying to figure it out my damn self. Because if you weren't being foolish and coming in here deceiving her, you wouldn't be going through this, sir. That's the problem. It's your guilty conscience. But as I said, to me, he moving like he just want a piece of ass. That's just how he's moving, and he's saying whatever he can to get it before the deep dark secret he's hiding from everybody gets exposed. Like to me, that's what it gives me. It's giving that he's trying to get into her draws before his shit get exposed and she leaves him.
Yep, that's what I think. That's
Yep.
what I think. I think he knows she's not going to deal with it.
Yep.
I do think he's paid attention to the things that she's saying and has been listening. And that's the unfortunate part, because if he could have controlled his urges, they probably could have worked. But I would never forgive him for that. I just wouldn't. He's gross. So, y'all, the group plays Never Have I Ever, classic drinking game. If you know, you know. If you don't, hey, there's Google. And Clay quickly was out of the game. For those of you who don't know, in Never Have I Ever, the types of questions that you ask, to be quickly out is not the best thing. Especially if you in front of somebody you getting to know. So I was like, oh, there goes another red flag she's ignoring.
Mm-hmm.
And then they asked the question of Never Have I Ever kissed the same sex, and Ty put a finger down. I know some people may be like, Mrs., don't talk about that on the channel. I don't judge nobody gay. I don't find nothing wrong with it. To me, love is love. I really don't give a damn who anybody loves, whether it's the same sex, the same person. As long as it ain't your cousin, your sister, your auntie, I don't care. But Ty, I've been thinking he's a comedian or here for the cameras. He put that finger down fast, did he not, James?
I was concerned because that's not who I was expecting to put a finger down. I said, whoa, you totally get by me, because here I am looking at Jared just waiting for that finger to go down, because I just know he has. And I thought the same thing about Brandon and Clay as well. But Ty was definitely not on my radar. I was like, wait, what happened? Were you an actor, sir? And that's how it happened? Like,
no, let me tell you this, Jared, the way he's acted about Charlie and how comfortable he is with it, I was like, nah, I used to think maybe he's a little sweet. Now I just think he's
I still think
a little bit of a like self-centered narcissist. But with Ty, it kind of would make sense, because he seems to be so committed. Mind you, Ty is only 38, right? He's kind of in our age bracket. He walking around with my uncle was Bernie Mac and gave me my first haircut look at the head. He even got a silver soul patch going across the top of his head. He always has to be the person to be doing everything that would be traditionally viewed as manly. So I'm like, maybe he himself likes some manly things. Ain't nothing wrong with it, Ty. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Maybe that's why he's not paying Brittany all any attention. Maybe it's not that he's worried about being a people pleaser. Maybe she's not the type of people he likes to please.
No, that's no. We going too far. No, that ain't it at all. Brittany is a lot.
You said what?
No, that's not it at all. Brittany is a lot, and it would take me a long time to get with her as well. It would, just because I just don't feel like she's in it for the pure intentions of me. I think there's a lot of motive behind her. So no, I agree with what you're saying to a certain extent, but to me, if Brittany were easygoing, like if she were just cool, go with the flow, just kind of like a Charlie or a Tatiana, then I would be like, yeah, he's definitely playing her. But she gives me red flags just like he do. It's not.
She gives red flags too, but not in sexuality.
Not in sexuality.
I think that's a bigger red flag, and that's my point. Like, yes, she's difficult. We know that she has the wall. I think she personally just looking for a daddy for a child, but I digress there. But the way he put that finger down, it was like, to me, that's your subconscious like reaction. What is going on, Ty? And then you go be like, oh, you mean kiss your daddy? First it was, I didn't mean to put the finger down. Then it was are we talking about dads, cousins, sons? I said, sir.
That's not what we talking about. You knew that's not what we was talking about. To me, now it made me wonder. No, because I was like, I did not see that on my radar, but then it was like, okay. So it was just a curiosity moment. Because to me, you should have just been honest at this point because you already did it. Now you trying to make up 100 excuses of what it was when it's like, we're not going to judge you any differently. I mean, who is she to judge you?
But there's still that negative stigma in the Black community.
It is, but you know what? The more people stand out about it, the more that goes away. We can't just have that stigma. So at the end of the day, men do questionable shit anyway that we should be calling out if that's the case. Men follow around behind other men all the time. That looks like as a homosexual trait to me. Men go to the same barber all the time. That is a homosexual trait to me because one, nobody should have your loyalty that much that you ain't fucking. I'm sorry. And I got to put that out there like that. But men do questionable shit too. So I feel like we need to stop being in that stigma of, oh, well, it's going to be a trite in the Black community when you go that far. Men do. I know a man. I listened to two men at Planet Fitness, showering at Planet Fitness, not working out at all. Dude got a whole house, but he slept in a car with another man. And he told me I gotta go home to my baby mama and stuff and listen to her mouth because I didn't feel like being all this and that. And I'm just like, the fuck? Why would you sleep in another car with another grown ass man? Like, what the fuck is that about? So no, men do crazy shit too that is questionable, but we never question those things. But God forbid a man kisses another man, we got to come down on it. Okay. I'm off my soapbox. I just had to put that out there because I feel like we don't question the right things all the time. We question the things that are just so extreme, but we don't question the surface things.
I get what you're saying. I do think that some of it is incorrect because I do think that those things get questioned. I just think that when it comes to same-sex stuff, people question it so much harder and then act viscerally offended over it. But it would be a lie to say that some of the things you described from men, because I have friends who've gone through that, who question and will leave them. But I do think that in the Black community, like as it relates to same-sex stuff, I feel like I've had friends who have dealt with that and found out they were dating a guy who was dating men, women, and everything in between. And it's like they'll question it, but then sometimes they won't because they're afraid of the answer to that question. Or if they find out the answer to that question, they're much more negative about it in response, or much more prompt to like take action in terms of separating compared to other things. So I do think both things get questioned, but people, when it comes to like a man kissing a man, like people are still stuck in those times. Like there's a lot of progress, but there's still also a lot of progress that needs to be made because it's not that big of a deal. If he were a professional actor, with the exception of Terrence Howard, he could have had to kiss a man in a film or something, and then it wouldn't be a big deal. But people are
Yeah, and
weird.
like I said, it could have been anything. Like, or it could have been just a curious night in college. Y'all act like y'all never had, like, people act like in college they ain't never had no curiosity ventures or have no drunk nights where shit just got weird. And there's lots. I think that's why I respect a lot of other nationalities on sexuality, because they don't look at it as such a hard criteria the way Black people do. It's such a hard thing. And I feel like, because I had this conversation recently with my husband. I felt like when we were talking about this conversation, um, in terms of this whole thing about it being a stigma of, women feeling like there's not enough Black men to go around. So there is a hard thing for a lot of people, and also what Mrs. Best saying about ideology and Christianity, that doesn't help. There was another stigma of that too, that Black men should only appear to be one way. And I listened to this one lady on a podcast. I forgot her name, and I should have, because I meant to mention this last week. But there's a lady on a podcast. She said there's not enough Black men to go around, and she said that in her time she was not taught to date outside of her race. That you only were supposed to be for Black men. But she watched her brothers marry white women and thought that there was a double standard and a stigma. So when she said that she hates when Black men become gay, it's because that's a less Black man for her as an option, because she wasn't taught that she had any other options. And I said that is a very shallow way of thinking, but it makes me wonder how many Black people think like that.
A lot of them do. Even, for instance, my own father, who was friendly and ran with the Panthers here out of Oakland, he taught me and my sisters that growing up, but is much more accepting of my younger brother. He likes to date Hispanic women. Totally accepts it. I had a Hispanic boyfriend. My first boyfriend was Hispanic. My dad had the biggest problem with it. So that's definitely something that is a legit thing. And then my sister, who dates a white man, super cool dude, by the way. I love that guy. My dad will like make little comments sometimes, like he's accepting, but sometimes I have to talk to him like, you cannot do that to Naima's boyfriend. You cannot do that to that boy. He's being nice to her, and that's what you want, right? And in my head, I'm like, I shouldn't have to explain that to him. But, there's differences. He comes from a different time. I think Abishte went in, summed it up the best. That's because most of the Black community is conservative and always has been. That is a truth. We still hold on to those ideologies, and being Christian, I always believe that does not help. It doesn't, especially the forms of Christianity that Black people align to, such as Baptist. That's probably one of the most common.
But see, here's the thing: we're not conservative in everything, and the thing about it is, I agree with your comment a bit, Stay with it, because we do act like conservative on that specific thing. I think when it comes to other things that are in ideologies, we kind of turned a blind eye to. For example, Black people who steal. We laugh at that, right? We think it's funny. Black people who cheat, we made allowances for it because we expect it. Black people who are on welfare food stamps, we have an allowance for it, even though a lot of us think they should go out and get jobs because that's what other society thinks. I think we make allowances for some ideologies and we turn a frown to this one. And I feel like that's where I agree with you with Black people being conservative, but at the same time, it's a selective conservative. It's not a full-fledged conservative.
Well, that's why I think the end of her statement is important. She stated being Christian doesn't help, because a lot of the conservatism in our community does relate to the church and Christianity. And that goes all the way back to slavery, at least in this country. So that makes sense, because if you read the Bible, I mean, it does say the same way it says, well, the reason to divorce could be adultery, which is to cheat. People will still say, oh, forgive him, you married. But it also says you're sinning if you're same sex. So I get what James is saying, because people will forgive someone for cheating, even though the Bible says in marriage you can leave that Negro if he does it. But then the Bible also says that it's not okay to be a homosexual.
How many women share the same baby daddy and feel that they have some attachment or entitlement to him because they have a kid with them?
Yeah,
they know for sure he don't. That ain't the Bible. That's why I'm saying we're conservative on things that are kind of like this. It's like it's the image of it that looks wrong, right? But we're not when it comes to other significance that sound equally as odd. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's true. That's why I brought up that point because it's
Mhm.
true. Christianity
No,
and
I said I
Black
agree with her comment. I too.
conservatism is related heavily. If Miss
Mhm.
would have said, "I've never kissed a woman," and will never kiss a woman, I don't want a man that has played around with the same gender. Dating outside my race has always been an option. That's a good thing. I have
That's a
kissed
good thing.
women.
I'm glad that that's always been an option because most Black women cannot say that.
Yeah,
Because most
yeah,
Black women stay in the regiment that a lot of their fathers impose that viewpoint of, you know what, I'm a Black man, you be with a Black man, but don't have that same accountability for their sons.
yeah.
So I feel
That's
like
how
that.
it is with my family,
Hmm.
very much so. But I get where you're coming from. Everybody's different. I've kissed women, slept with women prior to my husband, of course. So I don't. That's probably where my opinion comes from too, because I don't judge it. I'm more attracted to people based on like connection,
Me
personality,
too.
if that
Yeah.
makes sense. But everybody is different. Everybody is different. But Bisday would have said my son's girlfriend and now wives have always resembled me. If you admire your mom or dad, you usually want a person like them. That is actually a statistical and psychological fact in the social sciences. Most people do mirror their parents in not just dating choices, but other choices that their parents do.
Mhm.
It does show up differently from gender to gender, but it makes sense. My husband is I'm a daddy's girl. I'm very close to my dad. Love my dad, always has been. And my husband is very similar to my dad. And now that I'm older and in psych, I start to like pay attention to little things. I do more like, oh shit, I done married my daddy. I didn't mean to do that. So that is normal. This day
Mhm.
would have said in regards to being conservative in other areas, I think you're kind of off base with that, James.
I don't think so.
Um, it's okay to agree to disagree.
Yeah, we
The
can agree
thing
to
that,
disagree. I don't think so.
the thing that I noticed is you both have very good points. Um, you brought up Christianity. James brought it up as well. But there are several things in the Bible that we are told are the ultimate sins, are the ultimate things that we should not do. And people still do them, and those are forgiven. But
Right.
homosexuality is one of those things. And a lot of people don't
And as
forgive
I
that. But it depends on how religious a person is, because some
Right, but
people
what
just
I
don't
said was
care.
let's take religion out of it. There's still factors of Blacks being conservative in that matter and still turn blind eyes to certain things that other people do. Like, for example, I'm gonna bring up the cheating thing again. I feel like in most circumstances, conservatives turn a blind eye to that because a lot of them say, well, that's just a man's nature. Men gonna do what they want to do, right? That ain't got nothing to do with religion, but you turned a blind eye to it. If we're conservative and things are supposed to be A and B, why are we throwing in C and D too? In that circumstance, why would that be okay?
I think it's important too to remember that there are different types of conservatives. Some people would view me as being, what do they call it, like liberal conservative if you're talking about politics,
Hmm.
versus standard, just like straight conservatism, like down to religion and behavior and marriage and all these things. There's different forms of conservatism, especially like in today's time. And
Hmm.
I think some of the more radical people may feel that way, but it doesn't always relate fully to religion.
It
Uh,
doesn't. No, yeah, that's why I said I took religion out of it because some conservatives feel like once again they should be only in the priority prospects of life, meaning that one, two, that's it. So when we throw in the ideology of three and four, your man going out there and having children with other women and the wife still being at home and still accepting that, why would a circumstance like that be okay? And the circumstances of two men being together not be okay? When he's violated, not saying religion, I'm taking religion out of it. I'm saying we're making allowances for it being okay for a man to have other children outside of his marriage, but we're not making the same okay for two men to be together. That's what we're saying in the Black community, that's okay for him to do that to a person and hurt her the way that he can, but it's not hurting someone if two men are together. That's what I'm saying. It's so weird. The way that the construct of the mind works in Black society is weird. I want to go to Shayna's comment. Go to Shayna's comment.
I'm
Um,
there. I'm going to go through them in order. She said, I've never kissed a woman either. I don't date outside of my race. A lot
mhm.
of Black people don't date outside the race, and I see
Yeah,
nothing wrong with it.
yeah.
Um, I missed something, LOL. If we're talking about Ty, I don't want my man kissing other men. I don't either. And I've kissed other women. She says, but he should be open about it. He should tell the truth.
He should tell the truth. He should tell the truth. I'm not dismissing that. That's why I want to say I'm not dismissing him not telling the truth, because there's something with that if you put your finger down out of subconscious. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, okay, let's say he did that. And let's say she didn't have a problem with it. Would society feel, Shayna, Abyss Day Winner, and whoever else is in here, would y'all still feel like she should still leave him if she's okay with it?
No, that's the thing.
Because no, but I'm just saying, I'm asking that question because I feel like, to me, what if she said, okay, well, that's not a big deal. Like, explain to me what happened. That's not a big deal. Because me, if I'm throwing myself in the situation, let me throw myself in there because I'm the only person accountable. I'm not sexually repressed from either gender. Even though I'm actively engaged to a man and will marry a man, I'm not sexually repressed from women. I have no problem with going back and forth. I have no problem with being with either one. I like both equally, and it is always not. And then to me, I never liked men. I've never liked men at all. I just chose it one day because I kind of felt like, well, what would be the big deal? Like, let me just see what it like. And I ended up liking it a little bit more. Not gonna lie, but I was never really sexually repressed from women. Not ever in my life. And I
I
feel
think
like, to
that's the
me,
thing that where you have to pay attention to. Oh, I hate to quote Dr. Phil, perspective and perception is everything. For you and for your spouse and people you've dated, that's not going to be a big deal, especially because you're honest and you give people the opportunity to know ahead of time of what you've done, where you've been. But if you are a straight woman, mind you, I am a woman who has dated women. I've had girlfriends, I've had boyfriends. I ended up marrying a man, but I would not want or to marry a man that I have to worry about kissing or a wandering eye with women and men. That's my preference. And it doesn't mean that it's looking down on people for the same thing. But I think for women, straight women specifically, it would like if that's what you want, that's what you want. But it doesn't mean that if someone kisses a man who's
so
a
you
man,
think beyond the
wrong with
spectrum of
it. But
that.
it's preference.
You think beyond the spectrum of that, meaning that you don't feel satisfied that you're the only chosen one. If that were the circumstance, you feel like there's a beyond the spectrum of that. And what I mean by that is saying that because your person, if you were to choose a person, let's say if you were to choose a person and he's honest with you about he did have dealings with the same sex at one point, your response to that is, I'm afraid of what he'll do after he's chosen me. Is that how I'm supposed to pick that up?
No, and that's what you don't get. That's why I say you have to
Okay.
be in the perspective of being a straight woman or a
No,
woman
I think
dating a
I'm with
man in that
you.
situation. It's not like you expect them to do something wrong, but when you date anybody, the test in being with someone, whether it's in marriage or a relationship, is you have the temptation and you ignore it for each other, right? So you just want to know that at the very least, if you have to worry about what they're looking at, what direction they may go, that you at least don't have to be looking at women, men, whatever else. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with them if they do it. Now, here's where I do feel different. If a man were to tell me, oh, I have kissed another man before, I would politely find a way to end that relationship with that person. But if I choose to stay with them and then make it a big deal or drag them or come at other people or have an issue with worrying about, is he going to be too close with this friend? Is he going to be too close with that homie? That's a different thing. That's a different thing. But men also, they love a bisexual woman. They
And I
sure
think
do. That
y'all
is an
let
actual
men,
thing.
yeah, I think we've let men in this society dictate that thought process, because I don't feel, and this is, we'll agree to disagree on this one when I say this, because I don't want y'all coming after me, but I do not feel strongly that as women y'all percepted that on your own. I do not feel that way. And the reason why I say that is because of that comment right there. Men love bisexual women. Why would that stigma be okay for men but not for women? I'm just asking a question. That is crazy to me because I knew that comment was going to come out there. And I knew a lot of us were thinking that. A lot of men do love bisexual women. They do. It's in the stigma because they love the image of it. And then a lot of them feel that they would be included in the image of that. But why is it that not the same for women? Why not like a bisexual man?
That's true. Now, some women do, some women don't. But for
I'm
me,
just saying, yeah, like I
absolutely
feel like
not.
our ratio to men that like it versus women that like it. I feel like women are coming around a little bit more to it than in this today's society. But for me, I feel like that construct was built that we're not looking at. I think, as I said, I feel like this was a man putting this in women's head, and it's come down from generation to generation that it's okay for a man to like it, but women may not dare. And I think the women have identified that construct that it is wrong. When I personally don't feel, I feel like to some extent it can be wrong. I'm not saying it's not, but I feel like to some extent, I feel like we have indoctrined this perspective that it's okay for men to have these wildest thoughts of two women to be together, but if a woman thinks of two men together, then automatically her mindset is wrong and that it should not be that. I feel like we abducted that construct in our mindset in our day to day.
I think it comes down to Shayna's comment again. I appreciate Shayna for keeping her foot on her necks with this. I'm like, but if Brittany is okay with it, she shouldn't worry about what anyone else thinks. And that's my thing. I'm not okay with it. Abyss Day Winner's not okay with it. Shayna stated she's not okay with it. But for those who are okay with it, I think that's also a piece of the problem. If you're okay with the man that's doing that, then own that and be okay. But then what I see, because I have friends, I actually have two friends right now who are in situations like that, dating a man who was primarily gay and is dating my friend for the first time. And this is the first woman that he's dated. So I do feel like every situation is different, but if you're going to choose to be okay with it, then truly be okay with it. Honesty is a piece of it, and perception is also a bigger piece of it. But personally, if you keeping that a secret, that's when I start to look at people with the side eye. I understand the need to keep the secret because people have a genuine fear sometimes of coming out or admitting that they've dabbled in, on both sides of the pool. But we
To
shall
me,
see.
to me, here was my initial thought process because I felt like he was bullshitting and I would just say it's a night I don't remember, but I know what happened. I'd rather him say it like that because to me, I'd have been like, oh shit, okay, then that don't matter to me. The fact that he was trying to excuse it and make every like internal revenue of it being a family member or something makes it seem like it was more. I'm not saying y'all are wrong for how y'all feel, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I feel like she should leave him after this because he lied about it. Not so much that it happened, but because he lied about what it was. I would much rather him say, "It's a night I don't remember, but I know what happened." Because there's lots of men out there. Diplo is a good example of this. I don't know if you know who that is. But he's a great example of this. He knows that something happened. He just doesn't remember it. So he's like, hey, no, he goes, I know a guy has given me head. I know that it's happened, but I don't remember it. But I know that it happened for sure. That's what I wanted him to do. That's all.
He wouldn't know. He wouldn't, because that also comes into play of like the comfort. You have some men
Yes.
who truly prefer to date men and don't want people to know that. A bit stay what is that there isn't a whole lot of representation on television, especially in regards to gay men being masculine men. It's so stereotypical. I don't like it. One gay man that I do admire is Karamo.
He
Now,
started
I
out
feel
well.
like
He started out with the very mask because I didn't know he was gay on the real world until he said it. So I feel like he started out that way, and then I think he eventually turned into the stereotype.
I do agree with that. In terms of the gay representation, people feel like, oh, there's a gay person on this show, or they've incorporated a gay character into this show, but they all are stereotypical and similar
Mm-hmm.
in how they behave, how they speak, body language, mannerisms, and not all gay people, actually very few that I've met actually behave that way. So they definitely do need more
They
representation.
do. They do.
She
Because like my
said,
husband, I did not know. Like my husband does not appear it at all. Like it was kind of one of those situations where I'm like, really? And that's
he's
what I'm
like, I gotta
that's
make
what I
sure
said.
it's real.
I was like, really? And that's what I'm attracted to. So that's why I was like, okay, girl, I'll tell you, I lucked out because I'm not into the whole effeminate ones as well. Like that's not my cup of tea. So when I met my husband, I was like, oh my God, yes, thank God. Because I didn't know, I thought he was playing with me. I really did. I thought this was one of those, he in the closet. I was like, damn, I really ain't got time for this. But no, he was open to it, held my hand in public and everything. He was kind of like, no, he was definitely like, no, he definitely is one. He's just really masculine. Like it's called unassuming. That's what it's called. So that he was very unassuming, like, because you would not know. Even when he talks, you won't know.
Yeah, when you guys called me on the phone that day, I was confused. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I was kind of quiet because I was waking up. That's why I paused.
That's why I did that on purpose because I was like, I meant to call you after and talk to you about it. And I was like, I know Anita is like, wait, James, that is not what I was expecting.
I said, oh, that man sound fine. I'm a telephone voices. Sorry, Gio. I was like, that man sound fine. Okay. And I was like, oh, I thought it was your brother. Shout out to your brother too. But she said, I think it's different. Men do the sticking, women do the taking. That's true.
No, not all the time. That wasn't me. Ain't nothing in it yet.
I think in general, though, like a woman, our only option is to take the dick. See, what else can we do? I mean, we can't give you no real one. So in terms of like what you
girl, please, they make it so real now that you can even put them in the microwave now.
Not the microwave.
I'm just like
the radiation going up and through you. Exactly, it's patriarchal. I'm going to hell. Just like the Bible, a lot of bisexual men end up realizing that they are really gay, though.
No,
that is
that's
actually
not true.
That
it's
is
a statistical point, but that's not true. That is not true.
People really do just like to go both ways.
Both ways, yeah. I think, as I said, it's all in perspective of your element of where you are. I know, even myself included, I could easily go back to women. It's not, I'm telling you, I have no problem with it. I think what it is that I don't feel the way I live my life and the construct of how I am as a person. I like to be a pillow princess. I like to be taken care of. I like to be nurtured in a way that I feel like I have yet to meet a woman that can do it that way. If I can meet a woman that did it well, now it's too late. But what I'm saying, if in my past time when I was single, if I could have met a woman that did it that way, I would still be with a woman. But the problem is, in today's society, the way I want to be taken care of, I think only a man really can do. I just don't think a woman can.
At least
so that's my perspective. It has nothing to do with sexual. Like, sexuality is really a scientific thing. It's not really psychological. That's why I say I don't live my life through a psychological sexuality. I live it through scientifically. Whatever my body feels it should do is what it is. And yes, and Shayna, yes, I am a pillow princess. I feel sorry for my husband. I do, because I am the pillow princess. I just sit there and he work because I ain't got time.
There go. She, Mrs. who quit job recently. I feel it. I fucking feel it. I feel it. But I think the message is just do whatever works for y'all, people.
Yes, do what works for you, and don't let someone in society, don't let people in society think that it has to be a construct way. It does not have to be a construct way. It does not have to be common. It can be as different as you want it to be. I live proof of that every day. It can be as different as you would like it to be.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Now, see what Ty made us do. This was all Ty's fault for putting that figure down, just to remind everybody. Went to a whole discussion. But the group is still playing that. They're playing never, ever. I can't fucking speak today. They continue to play Never Have I Ever. And the next question is, never have I ever had sex with two people in the same day? Cinco got mad because Jay put a finger down. I'm guilty of that shit too. I don't see the big deal. I've done it before. I think wash in between you all right. Hey, it is what it is. Now I'm married, I behave. But hey, before we all had a pass. Now Jay gets mad, or Cinco gets mad at Jay because she put a finger down, and he starts asking her, did you do this while me and you was dating? And he asked her in front of everybody, which I was like, oh, you tripping, Jay, or Cinco, whatever the hell his name is. She says that she couldn't really remember, which bothered me because I was like, you should have said yes or no when it's something that important, even if you're around other people. You know what I'm saying? But she got upset that he was asked, that she was asked, and then gets upset. He gets upset and walks off. One of them walked off. Now they do try to talk through their issue, but she would not answer his question. He told her, I just want a yes or no. Did you do this while you were with me, or did you do this before me? And I don't think he realized that asking her a question like that and pressing her in front of everybody, especially when they have not had a disagreement yet, was not the place. One, but two, you should be more concerned for your spouse's feelings. Three, you should have common sense to know that you'll probably get a more truthful and empathetic response if you get away from the dinner table. I'm just saying. But I don't know. They don't know how to argue. So then Jay's sister Jessica comes to visit her, and Cinco's friend Torin, where's your family, Cinco? You talk about you want to be in her kid's life and all of this. Where's your family? But Cinco has his friend Torin come. And Torin is relevant because this is the person who connected him with Jay. He put them together. Now, Cinco's friend explains that he should not have called out Jay in front of everybody at the table. And in my opinion, from what I got from this, these two are just too concerned with continuing to look like the best couple, and they let that get in the way of their communication. You know what I'm saying? They let that get in the way, which annoyed me. It annoyed the hell out of me. Abyss Day when it said it was a great discussion. Thank y'all for being willing to have it with us. That's the point of being here. It should be open for all to express opinion.
Yes, this is what we're here for. We're here to me and Mrs. Best, we were always the different oddballs in high school. We were not like everybody else. And that's how she and I gravitated to each other, because we were so different. Even though we lived in an element that we had common friends, like they were all the same, but we had a crew of all different people. And I feel like for me, we always have open dialogue conversations, because we have to keep putting out there that as Black people, we can always do it differently than our elements. And I think
it's
that
also important to see that you can have a different opinion, different ideologies, beliefs, all of that in life with somebody and still hear them out. Now everyone's attacking people for like stupid shit, who they voted for. So it's like, no, we're not gonna do that on this channel. We just go talk. If that man didn't put his finger down, the shit wouldn't have come up.
Right, because it's still a shock to me. Like I said, it's still a shock to me, because I was unexpected. As I said, him of all of the guys there, as I said, I expected it from Jared. I expected it from Clay. I even expected it from oh god, I'm slipping on his name.
Chris.
No, Brandon. Brandon. I expected it from Brandon, but Ty was not on my. That's why I said y'all can't put a construct on what this is supposed to look like, because I
feel like Clay would let anybody, man or woman, rub on his titties and that pot belly.
No, I just feel like it's a dominant top. I just feel like that's just what it is. He's just one of those where it just needs to be a hole. He don't care what it looked like or what it is.
No worries, a bitch that went in. She said, not sure where the last comment came from. No worries. Cinco's friend gave Jay and them good advice. I did feel that way. James, do you want to comment on the meeting of their friends? They kind of just threw it in these episodes.
They threw it in there randomly, and I kind of felt like, to me, a lot of them were the cat friends. I needed to see the real life friends that actually been through some shit with them. Like, I needed, like, if I were on a show like this, you would be coming because you have seen me through a lot of darkness. I need you. I would expect you to be there, but a lot of these friends were Cap. Oh, he's great. He's the best man I know. He always. It was kind of like,
say something deeper.
Say something deeper. Like, I need, like, okay, has he ever been in this situation? Like, what was this situation and how did he get out of it? Has he ever walked away from a job, and why did he walk away from that job? Has he ever not paid a bill, and did the debt collectors call the house? Like, I need to know what I'm really, because as I said, this is a situation to determine whether we go to the next step. I need to meet the real life friends that have been through the ringer with you. I need to meet those friends. I don't need to meet the cat friends, because we all have cat friends that think we the best things in sliced bread. We all have those friends. But I need the friend that stayed up to 3 o'clock in the morning with you crying. I need to hear from that friend, because that friend is going to be honest and say, hey, on both parts. Hey, that ain't the person for you. What is you doing? Or I really don't think y'all are really a match for each other. Like, you're gonna call it because you know me best. So you're going to call it like you see it.
Kind of as what the hell was her name? Jay's sister held her accountable.
Yes.
And you could tell the difference between people who know you a long time and been like, now, are you sure? Is this some bullshit? Are you sure? Because that was me to James. You getting married? Are you sure? Is it some bullshit? You good?
And then once she talked to him, it was like, oh no, you good.
You just gotta check. Once you know somebody so long, it could be the quickest little sentence.
Well, I think you had more reason to do that based on my last relationship. You had, because it, like I said, y'all, me getting married came out of nowhere. It really did. It came out of nowhere because I didn't think it was going to happen, especially after my year of 2024. It was kind of like there was no way I saw me getting married the next year. There was no way I saw this coming.
He kept saying that. But it's regardless, if you know someone and they're a genuine friend, like there's your fun friends who you just have fun with, kick it with, maybe show up for the barbecue every year. But then there are the people who you can trust with certain stuff. You either talk to them all the time, they know everything, or you may not talk to them as often and they still may know everything, but they definitely need to do better.
Like with, yeah.
Child, the negativity comes, James. I'm sorry. Tatiana and Clay annoyed me. He is dragging this lie farther than anyone has dragged the lie before. At the end of the night, they go to the intimacy suite because you could tell he gave her flowers, was sweet, cooked some tacos with her. And she was like, I want to give you all of what she has to offer. And I'm like, oh, I hope she don't sleep with him when they go in that room.
She's falling for the okie doke, girl. Damn.
Don't fall for it. Listen to your gut.
I'm like, why would you fall for that shit? Like, are you serious? Like, girl, like, come on. Like, you cannot fall for that. And when I tell you she was falling for that shit, I said, damn. And he ain't even all that cute for me to fall for that kind of shit.
He's not.
And then I was like, damn.
We saw the preview for next week. He said in this episode, he wants to wait for his best friend to come to help him to know how to tell her the secret about his child. But based on the previews, we see that the best friend is fine as hell. What is really going on, Clay? Is the best friend of baby mama like, what's really going on? And very handsy. So I don't like how he's throwing the I love you around. I don't like how he's playing her. I've been saying it since the beginning. I think he's just waiting to hit and then he'll tell the truth.
Someone commented on, I can't send this to you. Someone said, what if he was a donor? And I'm like,
but he's raising the child.
He's raising a child. So what is a donor?
A donor would sign that off.
Yeah.
As Phaedra said, who got paid $100 to nut in a cup so that you could have your dream. As Phaedra said, if he was a donor, he wouldn't be this connected.
Do you think that's the lady though?
I feel like she might be. He said an ex-fiance. I don't know. With him, he's a liar, so anything is possible. And the following morning, it looks like she's going to find out soon because Charlie was telling Brittany about his secret outside in a space where it looks like other people could hear. And they feel like Tati looks stupid. Y'all don't. But then this bitch Charlie go say, I'm glad it ain't me. Bitch.
It was you.
Take care of your kids.
It was you. Whoa, hold on. It was... I forgot that happened. Man, let me stop because I'm going to go in on her. I don't feel like...
Charlie, go back to Dallas.
I said, don't you got a newborn to be worried about right now? Don't you got a pamper to change? Oh,
you up here gossiping when you should be pumping.
Yes, ain't your titties full of milk? Like, you ain't got no room to talk about nobody because who the hell leaves an infant baby to come on a reality TV show? An absentee mama. Because I guarantee you should have brought, you know what? She should have brought her kids on the show.
She should have. That's why they need to do.
And we should have talked to that eldest one. Just to see what kind of person Charlie is.
Because your kids will tell on you.
Exactly.
I'd ask the little boy, how many daddies have you had?
Okay. How many daddies was it? Do you live with your daddy currently or do you live with Charlie? And if you say I live with my granny, then we got a real problem.
I can't. I cannot. Because it looked like her mama was watching the baby in the last phone call.
That's what I saw. That's why I was like,
She said, "Thanks, Mom, for helping with everything." I said, "Bitch, go get with that baby."
it's like, girl, if you don't quit playing with us, you know your kids stay with your mom. She give me that type of lady.
She
Them kids
does.
stay with her mama, and she come over there on the weekends to go check on them, make sure they got something to eat and stuff. And then she leaves for 5 days out there hoeing. That's what she gives me. I'm sorry.
She got the older one a cell phone and sends the "I love you so much. You're growing so fast" text messages every other week.
That's
Girl.
what should. Yeah, her kid should have been on here. Said that whoever the fuck that was came for her. Like, yeah.
So we tired, y'all. But that is it, y'all, for this recap. It went a little longer, but always good to have discussions with our subscribers as you guys really keep us motivated to keep going.
I wish you would come on my channel. I would love to have you as a guest.
Snatch her up. Send her that link.
I would love to have you as my guest on my channel. We could talk about lots of different things because you and I butt heads a lot, but I love you so much. And I cannot wait till a day we can actually meet in person.
I love that. I love that. That would actually be a good idea. It's always good to get two different.
Oh, yeah. Me and you going to do a meet and greet tour. We're going to choose 4 cities.
James, I'm scared enough to get on a plane. I'm getting on a plane for your wedding. I got trauma that you have reignited.
Y'all could drive up there. You could put shit in the
He had me fucked up.
Oh Lord, girl.
My husband is good for saving $1, but sometimes he's too good at saving
the comfortability. Because I can just picture you in the car,
bad as hell.
Just fuming everything he finna do. Why you switch that lane so quick?
Yeah,
I can just see you now. That's why I'm like, oh my God.
Calling James, yeah, we only at Barstow.
Yeah, texting me like, James, why he got me in this damn car? Oh, he killed. I'm telling y'all, I would be laughing the entire time. I know I know you're not gonna drive, but just in case he is to convince you to do it, oh my God, I need him to hold up a camera the entire time. And you not know about it.
I would get canceled the way I curse, but
no, you ain't. Because I'm telling y'all, and I'm gonna post it right on my. I know I'm gonna get 1 million views because she go from 0 to 1,000 real quick. You do the wrong shit. She do.
I'm a Gemini. I'm trying. I'm trying. Oh God! All right, y'all. We will be back. Housewives of Atlanta is coming on TV. I don't know what James will recap it, but whenever he recaps it, I'll be there.
We're gonna be here tomorrow, friend. I just got 2 phone calls to make. So you home, ain't you?
Oh, easy. And then James might have an updates video coming. So be on the lookout for that. Again, the link in the description will take you to his channel. And I hope that everyone subscribes to it. Other than that, do you have any last words, James Jackson?
No, but everyone, thank you for being here. I had a great time, and I cannot wait for us to do this again when they come through with more great topics for us to discuss and pull apart. But once again, shout out to Abishay Winning. Shout out to Shayna. We appreciate it. Once again, I love you both so much, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right, y'all. Adios. Happy Mother's Day.